I'm Aiman, and welcome back to one of my auto repair videos. Today's video is going to be a bit of a diagnostic video. And just to set it up, my dad has always told Asfa to tell him if there's anything at all that he thinks might be wrong with his car, which is a Honda Insight Generation 2. And so, yesterday, my brother Asfa came home, and over dinner he told my dad, I'm not sure if it means anything, but I hear a squeaking sound coming from my car, coming from my tires. And so my dad asked him, is it squeaking when it's going straight or when it's turning right or left? And so he said it's when it's turning. So my dad said, aha, I think I already know the problem. And so today we're going to test his theory. If you see the tire pressure gauge in my hand, you're probably already thinking what it is. My dad's theory is that one of the tire pressures is low in one of his 4 tires. And so he asked my brother if he remembers if it's when he's turning left or when it's turning right. Because according to my dad, it does depend what direction it is that can tell you which tire has a low pressure. If you hear the squeaking when you turn left, that means it could either be your front left or your rear right tire. If you're turning right and you hear the sound, then it could be either your front right or your rear left. And so we're going to go through all 4 tires and check their pressures using the tire pressure gauge to check which one has low pressure. Because this car, well, usually you could check using if your car has tire pressure sensors like my mom's Acura, or if your car has a TPMS system, but Asfa's TPMS system is broken. So that's why we're doing it manually. So of course, my dad could be right, and he's very confident in his theory, but he could also be wrong. So that's why we're going to put it through some rigorous testing. So let's open this up and run the test. All right, 34 PSI. .36 PSI. Actually, I don't need to put it back on fully because we're probably going to relieve some of the air pressure, but we'll get that after. .29 PSI. And 33 PSI on the front right tire. So it looks like my dad's theory was right. The front had 33 PSI, the left side had 36 PSI, but the right rear tire had 29 PSI. And while 29 PSI actually isn't low for this car, because there's 36 PSI on the other side, you know, it kind of amplifies it because it's much higher. Okay, so we're gonna go inside and let's check the rating. See, it's rated for 33 PSI, so that's the max. So I guess 29 is kind of low. Maybe 31 is the minimum. But we definitely have to relieve some pressure on this side and also increase the pressure on that side. So the reason that Asfa didn't encounter this problem before is because up until recently, his TPMS system was working fine. But as of a few weeks ago, it's broken. And so we can tell that the TPMS system is broken because it says to check the system. And because it's broken, that means that the tire pressure indicator light will always be on. And because it's always on, Asfa didn't know that there was a problem. It just so happens that his tire pressure was low at the same time that the TPMS broke a few weeks ago. On a more modern car, like my mom's Acura, to actually see the individual tire pressures and know when one of them is low. And this car is rated for 35 psi, and so because it only goes plus or minus 2, it doesn't tell us right now that our tire pressure is too low, because 33 is the minimum that we have right now. And so we wouldn't have any issues with hearing any squeaking. And I think maybe if all of the cars on Asfa's car, all the tires on Asfa's car were at 33 psi, and only one of them is at 29, maybe he wouldn't have heard the sound. But because one of them is at 36 psi, that increases the difference to like a difference of 7 psi, whereas with 33 it would have been only 4 psi. And so I'll explain why that sound comes on. Let me just turn this off outside because it's really hot. Okay, so let's move back to the car. So the reason that we hear that squeaking is because when you turn a car, the car kind of rolls so that I can turn, and the suspension absorbs some of that rolling. But when the tire pressure is off, then the suspension is not able to absorb the rolling entirely, and so you hear some of that squeaking. And this issue is exacerbated when another one of the tire pressures is high, because then the suspension further can't absorb it. And so because this issue happens when you turn, because your car is rolling, that means it's even more noticeable when you make a tight turn, because then your car is rolling more. And so when my dad was talking about it to Asfa, he said, okay, so that means that you must make really tight turns with your car. And so Asfa heard that and he thought about it a bit, and then he decided to plead the fifth. And to clarify, I mean taking tight turns at faster speeds. If you do it slowly, then you might not going to hear it. But if you don't slow down before you take a turn, then you're probably going to hear the noise. And so for those of you out there watching this video, if this happens to you, if you hear this noise while you're turning at an intersection with a stop sign, then you probably know what that means without my dad having to tell you. It means that you didn't stop for the 2 seconds that you're required to stop at a stop sign. The cops might not know, but you know. Okay, so now with our problem diagnosed, we're going to solve it by filling the air pressure in the tires. I think we have a video on how to do that, so go check that out. I also have a video on the tire pressure gauge if you're interested in watching it. Go check that out as well. And so we're going to do that, and in the meantime, we're also going to we're going to order Asfa a new TPMS sensor and replace it. And that will probably be a video in itself too. So go check that out. But for now, I'm Aiman, and today I talked about what is that squeaking noise that you hear from your tire while you're turning. I hope I helped you. I hope that if you had the issue, then it helped you find it and that you're able to solve it. And thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and look at other videos on EyeOnAiman, especially the videos on Honda Insight, and I'll see you next time. But for now, I'm Aiman and signing out.